Hey, welcome back to Blanchy Talks Watches. Today we're going to look at the Paulareis Oyster Perpetual Homage. I did an unboxing on this watch a few weeks ago. I'll link it there in the description. And today we're going to have a full look at it. So, first things first, that dial. If you're following the watch world in the past few weeks and the past year, this colour is immensely popular at the minute, and I think that's going to continue into 2022, and I think we'll see a lot more of this colour. So the reason I bought this watch is for this specific dial colour. I've wanted to brighten up my collection a bit, so I have an awful lot of dark dialed watches, so I wanted a bit more colour. And what better way to do it than an absolutely lovely, bright, Tiffany blue dial. Now, while this watch has taken an awful lot of styling cues from the Rolex Oyster Perpetual, it certainly hasn't taken the price tag with it. This watch is retailing in or around $30 on AliExpress. I got it myself in the 11/11 sale, and it actually shipped quite quickly. I think it was only like 3 weeks to Ireland, which is actually the fastest I've ever had anything from AliExpress. So I was pleasantly surprised by that. If anyone's interested, what I'll do is I'll drop an affiliate link in the description below, so you can pick one up yourself. And it's really a nice, cheap way of trying out the colour. The dial colour is quite polarising. You either love it or you hate it. So I think I'd recommend anyone to try out a cheaper watch with a colour such as this. Not necessarily this one, there is other options out there, but yeah, if you want to try something bright and fun, check out the link in the description below. Okay, so we'll dive straight in. As I've said, it's an Oyster Perpetual Homage with the Tiffany blue dial. Get a close up there, you've got the Paulareis logo at the top, which is 2 lines either side of possibly a mirror with the P on it there. Pretty simple straight hands, applied indices, which are nice. The hands and indices are all loomed. This watch has 3 bar water resistance, or 30 meters. Basically means you can wash your hands with it and not much else. Surprisingly though, it does have a screw down crown, which I was not expecting for a watch that only has 3 bar. As you can see on the dial there, it is an automatic movement. Accuracy wise, I haven't tested it, but I've worn it on and off for the past month or so, 6 weeks maybe, and I haven't noticed any gaining or losing time. I find if it's less than a minute a day, if you're changing regularly, you're not going to notice. I haven't even noticed it being that, so I might take it off for a day, put it back on, the time is still right. Within a few seconds. I mean, I haven't tested it precisely, but it is more than accurate enough for what I use my watches for. So this case is alloy, covered with it's a high polish finish, so it's probably a chrome or something. Fingerprint magnet, as a few comments said in my other videos, there will be fingerprints on it. I don't particularly care. I'm not going to put on gloves for a $30 watch. The band then is stainless steel, so it's a bit unusual to have a stainless steel strap and an alloy case. I would much rather have the stainless steel case, but at this price point, can't really complain. You've got your Rolex style clasp, again obviously much cheaper. Does the job. One thing actually, the way this locks in is this post, you can see there, it's wider at the end, pushes through this hole, so it's a bit of a different experience to lock it in. I have nicer bracelets that are the similar style and you have to pull them from here, but with this one you can kind of just yank it and it'll pop off. Now that's not to say it's loose on the wrist. Once it's closed, it's not going anywhere, and once you have the little flap over, it's nice and tight. But just something to note, it's a pretty cheap bracelet. Little bit rattly for my taste, but again, at this price point, I'm absolutely willing to overlook little details like that. One thing I'm not as quick to overlook is you can see the colour difference between the stainless steel and the polished alloy case. And actually, as I look at it here, it looks like there appears to be a bit of rust maybe in the, or discoloration anyway on the brakes. It won't scratch off, so I'm not sure. The colour difference though, it does look to be more with this harsh lighting than it is in natural lighting, but I do still notice it. To be honest, I never really intended to keep this on the bracelet. I was going to get a bright, either a bright leather strap or a bright NATO strap for it. I do like the brush and polished effect on the bracelet, so I've left it on until I find something that's more suitable. On that topic, I am struggling, so if you have any comments, if you've seen any, even the Rolex with this colour, or any other watch for that matter with this colour dial on a strap, let me know what you think would work, because I'm really struggling. I was hoping to colour match with the dial, and I'm struggling to do that, and to be honest, I don't know if that'll work either. So yeah, any tips or comments below would be fantastic. So for the size of this, it's supposed to be 41mm, but it is closer to 40 and a half. Get it there on the calipers. Yeah, so it's about 40.5mm. Lug to lug then is just over 49, so it's long enough. Thickness wise, you've got almost 14mm. As I said before, the strap width is 20mm. It does have a nice taper to it, all the way down to just over 16mm, and then the clasp itself is back up to about 18. So we'll try this on the wrist. For reference, my wrist is 7¼ inches, and I think this fits me very nicely. So there you have it. Nice taper. It makes it nice and comfortable on the wrist. I haven't noticed any hair pulling with this strap. It's been quite comfortable. Side profile there, it is slightly tall, but very comfortable. Size wise, I do prefer slightly bigger, 42 being my sweet spot, but this at about 40.5mm does look quite nice. There is a trend towards smaller watches at the minute, and I think this is a nice kind of in-between size. I wouldn't hesitate to get a 40mm watch now after this one, but yeah, I think it looks quite well. I wear it very slightly loose, but there is micro adjustments there as well. I could go in one more, I think, but I like having that little bit of play. Just on this watch, I found it more comfortable. I had it tighter originally, but that slight amount of play just makes it a lot more comfortable. Now, for the Loom, as I said before, it does have Loom, but it's not the best Loom. But I mean, realistically, what can you expect from a watch this price point? And let's be honest, this is a dress watch. You don't really need Loom, but we'll have a look at it now anyway. Okay, so that actually looks great on camera, and to be honest, in person it looks about as good as it does on camera there, but this has been sitting under my ring light for the past probably 15 minutes, I'd say, so it is well charged. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but I can see it in person now. It has already started to fade. That being said, I mean, there is Loom there. You can read it. You can read it at night. I've read it a few hours into the night. Bit of a struggle, but better than some of my significantly more expensive watches. But you can see the hands do fade faster than the indices. So yeah, look, it's not a watch that you're going to be relying on in pitch black for the time. But look, it's there. I know some other reviewers kind of say, look, what's the point in putting any Loom on a dress watch? But as someone who's a fan of Loom, I'm always in favour of just putting it on. So overall, this is a pretty solid little watch. For $30 or maybe even a bit less, you just can't go wrong with this. The automatic movement so far I found pretty good. I haven't noticed any accuracy issues. Again, I haven't timed it, but that's not what this watch is about. It keeps more than good enough time for what I need and what the average user would need. I've seen a few comments on the forums when I posted this before saying, oh, it's so cheap, how could the movement last? And I had a watch I bought for €11 automatic from AliExpress, and it lasted me, I think it was 3 years before I gifted it to a friend, and it was still going strong, so I'm pretty confident this will keep going. I will update if it ever does stop on me, but yeah, I do have a lot of confidence in these cheap Chinese movements. I mean, let's face it, the technology they're using over there is pretty impressive, and most things are made in China these days, so there's a lot to be said for the quality they can produce for this incredibly low price point. Again, if you'd be interested in picking one up, I have an affiliate link in the description below. It doesn't cost you any extra, but I do get a small kickback to help support the channel. If there's any more ultra cheap watches on AliExpress you'd like me to have a look at, drop a comment below and I'll add them to the schedule if possible. I'm slowing down my buying at the minute. I've had a couple of big purchases, so I won't be buying them straight away, but look, I'll keep them in mind, and if a few people vote for the same watch or whatever, I can look into it. But yeah, my recommendation would be absolutely go for it. This has definitely been polarizing, as I said before. Some people like it, some people hate it, but it's a great cheap way to brighten up your collection. It's a nice looking watch. It does come in a range of different colours. I'll throw them up on screen there, but this would be the colour I'd say go for. It's going to be such a big colour in 2022. So yeah, thanks for taking the time to watch. If you liked the video, drop a like, comment, and please do subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.